You are reading By the Ballot, a Substack from the New South's new generation of Democrats, where we talk about stances, tactics, and news from the left. My name is Matt Royer. The privatized murder of public discourse. How shows like Jubilee's Surrounded and bad faith social media guises stoke tribalism and falsely mirror both sides.
Round 1, fight!
We've all heard the hyperbolic claim that we're living in the most divided moment in our nation's history. While recent years have certainly come close, history tells us otherwise, if, of course, schools are teaching it correctly. Still, it's easy to see why people believe it when they tune into debates on outlets like Fox News on the right or Midas Touch on the left. The goal isn't discussion, it's humiliation. Every side is preparing to clip a flashy 2-minute moment to post on Twitter, Blue Sky, Truth Social, or wherever they hope to go viral. No one's actually engaging with the person across from them. They're talking past each other, through the camera, to an audience already on their side. It's about pushing a narrative, not understanding a viewpoint. There was a time when debates, even between political enemies, could deepen understanding. That time feels long gone. Today, our public square is a battlefield of 280-character dunks and bad faith provocateurs. Thoughtful debate rarely stands a chance. And I get it. I fall into this trap too. In political discussions, it is a great if momentary feeling to land a good jab on someone who you're verbally sparring with, especially if you find their opposing views reprehensible. However, the more we find ourselves giving into our worst instincts, the further apart we will find ourselves, and the harder it will be to come to a compromise in order to get anything done in politics. Humiliation over humanity. The bite-sized nature of modern media has created a culture where everyone is a content creator and every issue is sensationalized. Members of Congress give floor speeches to empty chambers, not to legislate, but to clip the footage for Instagram and their next fundraising email. A lot of us can recall a certain pink-gloved Michigan representative shouting over her own party leadership despite being granted more time in 2020.
I request 30 more seconds because I rise before you adorning these
gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Not for personal tension, but to encourage you to take this
proceedings seriously.
I rise for every American who is scared right now. To the families.
The gentlelady will suspend. The gentleman from Maryland is recognized. The gentlelady is out of order.
I yield the gentlelady 30 additional seconds.
The gentlewoman is recognized for an additional 30 seconds.
Cause of their servitude, sharing in the profession with those who have not come before you. Similar times of trying medical need, wars and flus past. You will see darkness, you will be pushed, and our society needs you. To stand together at this time, our country loves you. To our doctors and our nurses, I wear these latex
The gentlelady's time has expired. The gentleman from Maryland is reserves. The gentleman from Texas is recognized.
Politics has become a WWE match, flash over substance. Everyone is chasing their own Warren suplexes Bloomberg moment from 2020.
I'd like to talk about who we're running against. A billionaire who calls women fat broads and horse-faced lesbians. And no, I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about Mayor Bloomberg.
People are not looking to understand or humanize their opponents. They are looking to undermine and humiliate their opponents. You see this in how people duke it out in the comments or replies on social media filled with ad hominem attacks and cherry-picked facts. This shift didn't happen in a vacuum. Donald Trump turned debates into spectacles of interruption and insult, threatening Hillary Clinton with jail, mocking Joe Biden as feeble, and labeling Kamala Harris as the worst vice president we've ever had. Debate rules had to be changed just to preserve basic decorum, and even then, Trump bulldozed right through them. Online, Trump's unhinged persona and diatribes riddled with personal insults while legislating by tweet ushered in a new era of political discourse where people could make unilateral decisions while also one-upping their opponents. But here's the problem. It worked. Voters thought this made him look strong and real. So now rising politicians, especially younger ones, model themselves after that approach. They trade substance for sound bites and ratio wins. As long as they rack up likes, who cares if they're accurate, fair, or honest? We've gone from public debate to content warfare, and it's killing discourse. What hath the edgelords wrought? Now this would be somewhat manageable if people were acting in good faith, but more and more they're not. Some are just trolls chasing attention. Others are pushing dangerous ideologies. Either way, there's no point in debating someone who only wants to provoke, frustrate, or play the victim. Look at our own Vice President J.D. Vance, who joined Blue Sky not to engage but to troll trans kids who had just lost access to healthcare due to a conservative Supreme Court ruling. Far-right grifters like Tucker Carlson, Matt Walsh, and Nick Fuentes build entire brands on smug cruelty. Now they're joined by figures like Riley Gaines, whose entire media identity is how the woke left ruined my life. In practice, this mostly means bullying trans people who are just trying to live. Why do they do it? Because it gets attention. Tulane researchers found that people are more likely to engage with content that confronts their views than content that aligns with them. The more outrageous the post, the more views, and the more money platforms like Meta, Google, and X rake in. And that's why they all do it. None of it is in good faith. None of it adds positively to discourse. It's just being controversial to get attention and gain fame and notoriety. The content isn't designed to enlighten, it's designed to enrage. Not so jubilant Jubilee. Now I want to talk about what brought me to this topic. Jubilee is surrounded. You know the videos. There's one well-known talking head from either the right or the left placed in the center of a gauntlet of ideological opponents, usually 20 or more, ready to rain down takes and insults like a bukkake of bad faith and clout chasing. Surrounded is controversy porn. It's not a debate. It's not meant to facilitate mutual understanding or challenge ideas in good faith. It's designed to manufacture 10-second viral clips that validate viewers' existing rage, push them deeper into their political silos, and rack up ad revenue in the process. Matt Bernstein did an excellent post on the issues with Jubilee shows, but I want to expound on that a bit more because it's worth reinforcing. Jubilee was founded by Jason Y. Lee and investor Mike Sue to build a Disney for empathy, with the singular goal to create a movement for human good. But much like the aforementioned media empire, their goal was both fantastical and secretly corporate. Because what drives a media group more than their mission statement? Views and engagement, so you can monetize your ads. What better way to drive views and engagement? Controversy and outrage. Their most viral content? Extremists, fringe voices, bad faith provocateurs. Whether it's the speaker or the audience, the formula is the same. Line up, outrage, let it explode, monetize the fallout. And that is why Jubilee says they're not afraid to go there. And there increasingly means finding the people with the worst intentions on the farthest fringes of the political spectrum. It doesn't matter whether it's those cast or those chosen to take on the hordes of the opposition. When you look at the one in these 1 versus 20 matchups, those chosen are increasingly people who are either dug in on the right, like Charlie Kirk and Jordan Peterson, or on the left, like Sam Seder and Mehdi Hassan. Those cast as a crowd also are there to elicit the most shock and awe, and their arguments are all in bad faith or faulty logic. And you can see this in the content that is most memorable from these shows, which should have given Mehdi Hassan enough warning that these participants wouldn't be the most understanding or tolerant. Jordan Peterson versus Parker Get a Job.
Example, if you're in Nazi Germany and it is the case that there's Jewish people in your attic and you're trying to protect them, would you lie to the Nazis?
I would have done everything I bloody well could so I wouldn't be in that situation to begin with. It's a hypothetical and it's not answerable.
Hypotheticals?
No, I can't answer a hypothetical like that because
Did you eat today?
Look, don't play games.
I'm not playing games. I'm just asking if you ate it.
If you present me with an intractable moral choice that's stripped of context and you back me into a corner, you're playing game. I just told you I would do everything that I could to make sure that I'm never in that situation. By the time you've got there, you've made so many mistakes that there's nothing you can do that isn't a sin.
Being born in Nazi Germany and trying to protect people that you care about, there could be a Jewish friend that you have and you want to protect them.
I think you should just give up on
attic.
that line of questioning.
Give up on just trying to clarify your position? Because are you uncomfortable with me asking this question? It's just a basic hypothetical. I could ask you.
It's just a basic hypothetical where you put Jews' lives at stake in Nazi Germany. That's just a basic hypothetical.
Obviously, you would lie in that scenario to save their life, but you're not trying to answer this question for some reason.
I just told you why.
Are you anti-fascist? So you're anti-fascist?
Why are you asking that?
I was just asking, just clarifying. But okay, again, you're not answering this hypothetical because you know it shows that you clearly would lie to save someone's life.
I'm answering it in
Obviously,
a manner you don't find acceptable.
Obviously, because I care about truth.
I wouldn't be in that scenario.
Obviously, right? Logically, because that's already happened. Like, that's in the past. You don't have a time travel device. We're bringing this logical hypothetical up to show you that in some circumstances that do happen within the real world, you would lie to save people's lives. So your definition of truth isn't actually how we're typically using it. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to muddy the waters when I ask you, like, do you believe this? Do you think this to be true? So you don't actually have to answer the questions. And plenty of Christians don't like that because they clearly see that you don't really like want to be associated with Christianity.
I can imagine that I was in a situation where the best I could do as a consequence of my previous mistakes was to tell the least amount of lie I could manage. But that would likely indicate that I had made all sorts of catastrophic errors on my way there.
So you would lie to save someone's life. So again, you do believe it to be true in that circumstance, even though you lied in that scenario. So
not
clearly
without
that's not
the context that I put it in.
You were not willing to die for it. You were not willing to let other people die for it. So that's not what you see to be true then, seemingly.
Peterson is a deeply controversial figure, and while I find his views reprehensible, his frustration with being cornered into a Hitler hypothetical isn't entirely misplaced. This tactic, dropping a Nazi scenario as a rhetorical trap, is emblematic of how these debates are structured to manufacture a gotcha moment rather than reveal real insight.
I think it's because really ordinary arguments can get really dramatic really quickly. Like, I was talking to a friend recently, and I told him that I didn't think I believed in the death penalty, and my friend said to me, "Oh, so you're telling me that if you saw Hitler walking down the street, you wouldn't kill him?" That wasn't what I was telling you. But all right. Let's talk about this entirely new topic.
It's a textbook false dilemma. If you wouldn't lie to protect someone from being sent to a death camp, your definition of belief is false. That's not honest discourse. That's a game of rhetorical entrapment. Jubilee knows this format isn't designed for nuance. They want escalation. They want the dog pile. The Charlie Kirk smile.
Resistance requires help. Why is it that the 6-week baby is of less moral worth?
Well, first of all, it's not a baby, it's a fetus.
Well, what does fetus mean?
A fetus is in utero.
What does fetus mean in Latin?
What the f***? I'm sorry, is this a language class?
It means little human being.
Ugh, his smile is very creepy. Okay.
Smiling is creepy?
No, your smile specifically.
Got it.
But let's go back to...
Yes, Charlie Kirk is a piece of shit. Yes, he is a creepy dude. Charlie Kirk is a bad actor, full stop. But when the most viral clip from his appearance is someone mocking his smile, not challenging his ideas, but just insulting him, it exposes the shallowness of what's being passed off as a debate. If all we've got is snark and insults, we're not building a stronger case. We're sinking to their level. Just like how I talked about Trump insulting his opponents, there are tons of people who think these ad hominem attacks are strong arguments in proving their points, but it's a weak and honestly immature look at public discourse and discussion. This is ad hominem warfare, and Jubilee profits from it. Sam Seder versus xenophobic Christian nationalism.
Everybody in society. And same with xenophobic what's the problem with xenophobic nationalism? Don't you think that's better for Americans in general?
Xenophobic nationalism is better.
We should have a coherent culture. Everyone should be a part of the same culture. We should have assimilation.
Do you get to choose what the culture is?
We already have a dominant culture.
What is
based
the dominant
on European
culture?
And Christian values and identity. That is the dominant culture.
White Christian,
it's rooted in European identity.
White. So your argument is that
has been the dominant culture.
Just to be clear,
and we're not letting people assimilate to that. We're saying you should keep your culture, and this is why our culture is so divided.
Your argument is that Trump is good for those who want a dominant white European culture.
I mean, that is what America is. It's rooted in European identity and Christian values. That's what it has been. Would you really disagree with that? What is it then, if that's not the identity of America?
Well, I think the identity of America...
For the majority of time, America's been a country. You don't think that's been the identity?
Well, actually, no. I think actually the identity of America has been, for better or for worse, a melting pot in that regard.
Yeah. Maybe since the 1960s. Even then, even we had this idea of a melting pot. Literally means assimilation too. It means melting. It means you're assimilating to the dominant culture. Is that not what melting means?
No, it doesn't
and
mean
now instead we're saying there's something wrong with xenophobia.
Dominant culture. No. I mean, look, I got to be honest with you. Like, you and I have a fundamental disagreement. We will never see eye to eye on this. It's a choice. And people, I think what you're expressing, though, is really what the Trump movement at its heart is about. And I think that's problematic.
I disagree. I don't think Trump's like anywhere close to being a Christian nationalist. That's ridiculous. Like, Trump's basically a Democrat from like 15 years ago when it comes to social issues.
So you don't think that he's conservative enough for you?
Oh, definitely. Nowhere close.
This one is egregious. The optics alone are terrible. A Jewish progressive placed across from a white, self-described Christian nationalist. The debate quickly devolves into why can't immigrants just assimilate to our culture that's rooted in European identity, a xenophobic dog whistle couched in faux civility. And the woman making these arguments, Sarah Stock, is herself a Canadian immigrant with a long history of saying vile things on Jubilee. Because Stock is not a first-timer. She was also featured on one LGBTQ plus activist versus 25 conservatives, where she said,
12% of men who have sex with other men 1 or more times a week have problems where they are not able to control their bowel movements.
Because when
these clips arise and people go back to watch these shows, the monetization of the videos are just making money off these extreme far-right activists. Mehdi Hassan, fascist comment.
How do you know? Autocrats tend to kill everyone,
Carl
even their own
Schmitt
supporters.
makes this point very well in his work. It's the friend-enemy distinction, right?
Carl Schmitt, the Nazi theoretician.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care.
Are you a fan of the Nazis?
I frankly don't care being called a Nazi at all.
I didn't say that. I didn't actually say that. I said, are you a fan of the Nazis?
Well, they persecuted the church a little bit. I'm not a fan of that. But
what about the persecution of the Jews?
Well, I mean, I certainly don't support anyone's human dignity being assaulted. I'm a Catholic.
But you don't condemn Nazi persecution of the Jews?
I think that there was a little bit of persecution and
we
stuff
may
like
have
that,
to
which is
rename
bad.
this show because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you can say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am.
Finally, you've got Mehdi Hassan, a respected Muslim journalist, placed in a panel with people who, at best, flirt with fascism and, at worst, openly identify with it. Okay, just sidebar. How many people do you know personally that call themselves a fascist willingly? My guess is 0. The premise alone is outrageous, but Jubilee frames it as a balanced debate. This isn't platforming for the sake of understanding, it's platforming to provoke and profit. The pattern is the point. This is Jubilee's model. Bring in a high-profile guest, surround them with extremes, sit back and let chaos drive the clicks. The result isn't a deeper understanding of the other side. It's a monetized spectacle of division. And because outrage is profitable, they'll keep doing it. The more unhinged the guest, the better the engagement. The more viral the takedown, the more ads get sold. Empathy has been replaced by spectacle, and they're laughing all the way to the bank. So what can we do? It feels like we can't put the genie back in the bottle, but we're not powerless. Here's how we can push back. Demonetize outrage-based content. Stop feeding clicks to shows like Surrounded. They profit off division. The more we engage, the worse public discourse becomes. Log off. Seek long-form content. Twitter or X rewards snark and outrage, but real ideas need more than 280 characters. Prioritize platforms and content that allow for depth and nuance, even when it's slower. Don't let the worst dominate the conversation. Yes, Elon Musk has wrecked Twitter, but retreating into ideological silos like Blue Sky or Truth Social just hands public space over to extremists. Stay visible. Push back. Find common ground when possible. Not everyone on the other side is unreachable. I'll admit I've been lucky to be exposed to opportunities to learn this. As a graduate of the Sorensen Institute for Political Leadership at the University of Virginia, I was enrolled in a course that was created for the sole purpose of better bipartisan understanding, and I am better for it. I worked alongside Republicans and independents to tackle large-scale problems, and we even had agreements on ways to combat the housing crisis in Virginia. We're not that far gone. Yes, this moment feels divided, but it doesn't have to stay that way. We can resist performative rage. We can demand better from our media. We can talk, listen, and sometimes find agreement. Or we can keep spiraling, feeding the machine that profits from our division. The choice, as always, is ours.